Welcome, everybody, to Sportsbook Review. This is the NCAA Basketball Odds Couple Show, and today it is a little odd because Pistol Pete is taking a day off. He's got a migraine headache, and Dennis insists that it's on all the numbers he's crunching in the late nights on second halves to small schools. All right, we both told him, hey, Pete, you got to get out and enjoy your life. You got to literally get out of the house. So we'll see where that goes. In the meantime, Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com has stepped up to the plate and taken one for the team. So with that being said, Joe, first and foremost, I hope you had a wonderful turkey day. We survived a hurricane here in Costa Rica. College basketball, how's everything going on your end?
It's a fantastic start in college basketball. I have my exact records out in the other room. Visit offshoreinsiders.com. I actually have the record quoted. It's been a phenomenal start to college basketball.
Fantastic. And again, thanks for stepping in, Joe. What we're going to do, we're going to start with you, Joe. We're going to have some later games for our viewers, so when this video is uploaded, you'll have plenty of time to get the information, to catch the edge, and place that bet. With that being said, Joe, let's start off. What's your first pick tonight that is going to be a nice edge for our viewers?
I feel like I'm sitting in for Johnny Carson, so let's see how it goes. But,
Here's Pistol.
There it is. But the Arizona-Butler game, look, Butler has so many weapons, and they have the ability to score off of the dribble with Woodson, Baldwin, Martin. These are three good players. Arizona, they're not a team with a ton of depth. And remember, with these tournament games, they're playing back-to-back. They played another game earlier this week. They got a stud freshman, Lauri Markkanen, but now he's playing, he'll be over 100 minutes before the week is out after tonight's game, because he's probably going to have to play a good 35 minutes. So the depth, Arizona's down to 8 scholarship players. Butler's got a lot more depth. I also think that Arizona's going to be chasing them all over the court because they really got a couple guys who can handle the ball, pass the ball, and score. So Butler wears them down. Even if they're trailing late, I really think Butler in the final 6-7 minutes is going to pull away. So my first pick is Butler to cover against Arizona.
And what's the best shop line you got on that with Butler?
I think the line that I had was 1.5.
Okay, plus 1.5, right?
Yeah, you know what? Let me.
No, it's okay, Joe. No problem. We'll just I'll put the ticket together. Were they getting points?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, getting 1.5. I like that play, Joe, because I had Arizona yesterday. I had a winning day in all sports, but Arizona burned me in basketball against Santa Clara. All right, and you nailed it. They don't have the depth, and when the season, in the beginning and the end, when they do all these tournaments, all right, you have to have that depth because you literally you pointed out something very, it's a sharp tool for what we do. This is going to be a tired team, and Santa Clara gave them all they could handle last night. Literally, Santa Clara almost came out with the win. So with that being said, I do like the depth of Butler's bench. Why is that? Do you think Butler's an underdog in this game?
Yeah, well, Butler, and keep in mind, they're also a team that has a lot of experience. They're going to be starting a couple fifth-year seniors, one true senior, and 2 juniors. So they have a ton of depth. Look, I'm the first one to tell you more times than not that depth is overrated, but this is one of those rare circumstances because of these tournament games that it is. Look, these are 2 evenly matched teams, and I think under a quote-unquote normal circumstance, if they were playing like a Wednesday game following a Saturday game, it would be a lot different. But I do think this is a classic case where the schedule maker has really made Butler a strong play.
Wow, I like that breakdown. And with Arizona, I'm just not sold on this team as of yet. Sean Miller's a good coach, but Lute Olson back, Lou Olson back in the day, Lute Olson, this guy knew how to use his bench a whole lot better. And I think that's what Arizona's got to figure out. All right, with that being said, what's your second pick for us, Joe?
I got the Nebraska-UCLA game, and I'm going to go with Nebraska. Now, again, as I've said, college football is the only sport out there where counterintuitive systems don't always work, but college basketball is one of those that is counterintuitive. I do have a nice angle here. When both teams are playing with no rest, one team off a win as an underdog, the other team off a blowout win as a favorite. Actually, the team coming off of the upset, coming off of the tighter game, a solid 48-33, and this is bar none the best team that UCLA has played all season. I think they're a little erratic. Look, granted, a lot of people have questions about Nebraska's offense. They're kind of a box of chocolates, but still, when you talk about one of those box of chocolate teams, they're getting about 9 points here. I do think anytime you got a predictably unpredictable team like that and a big point spread, it's a very high percentage play.
Yeah, I like that as well, because UCLA last night, they turned it on in the second half. So if they expended their energy, it happened in the second half. So I think that could be a good breakdown. Nebraska's 4-0. People say they haven't been tested. Tonight will be the test because UCLA was just flying out of the gate, averaging over 100 points till last night. So I think that might be a good angle. I'm looking at that myself. All right, with that being said, hit us with your third call, Joe.
Well, one of the marquee games of the night, Gonzaga and Florida, our power ratings, and I use Ken Palm, and I have a couple other sources I use for power ratings, but our consensus power ratings actually here say that the underdog Florida should be the favorite here. Neither team has played a very tough schedule so far, to say the least. But look, Florida, they play a much better defense. I love the points per 100 possessions. Florida 7th in the country in defense, holding teams to 90.9 points per 100 possessions. Gonzaga not super far behind at 93.7, but again, granted, neither one of these teams have really played a quality foe except for Florida. They played one last night, Seton Hall. So I think it's good. Both of these teams have played tune-ups, but the fact that Florida at least has one quality opponent under their belt, has them sharp, I think that's going to be a big advantage there, and they are the better defensive team.
And what's that line on that game, best shop line?
It actually opened up at 3, but this is a premium play for me, and we moved it down to 1.5. So when we released it, the Gators were getting 3, but I think 1.5 is the best you can get.
So on the video, we'll use 1.5. I have two guys that I really rely on as far as with their knowledge and what they do, and they love college basketball, and both of them are on Florida tonight. They say they get the outright win, and they don't need any points, so I like that outlook. Florida, after Donovan left, they wanted to change it to a more up-tempo offense, but what the coach realized was a lot of the recruits that Donovan was bringing in, all right, they were geared for defense, and he has gone back to that defensive lockdown, and I think that's going to throw Gonzaga's game off. I like that pick, Joe. I really do. You're going with 3 dogs tonight. I like it. I'm going to put out my first play, and I want your thoughts on it. All right, I'm going with Pittsburgh tonight. They're versus Marshall. Pitt's 4-1, Marshall 2-2. I'm just liking Pittsburgh. I think, this is a team going through a lot of transition, Pittsburgh, with the changes from last year. But I think they're capable of covering 12.5. I'm also going to go on the first half -7. What are your thoughts on the first half and the full game that I'm choosing with Pittsburgh versus Marshall?
It's a little bit tough there because keep in mind, this is a regional rivalry where Pittsburgh, Huntington, West Virginia, a lot of these guys in Marshall, they wanted to go to a school like Pittsburgh. And it's one of those cases where the mid-major, is going to be a little bit more up for the big brother and getting a bunch of points, especially when it's before the conference season and the bigger conference teams, they're trying to go through their roster. So when you have I think it's a myth. In fact, I know it's a myth in college football, and a lot of people will be quoting it this weekend, in fact, when they say, go with double-digit rivals. But in basketball, in a situation like this, when you're talking about where it's kind of a one-way rivalry, I don't think Pitt really considers Marshall to be much of a rivalry, but vice versa, it's a little different. I don't know. I think this is one of those intangible plays where I may not totally agree with you, but I will say I do not have a premium play on this game, so it's not like I emphatically disagree.
Okay. I like that angle that you talked about, and it has got me thinking ever since you said it. When you have a bigger school going against a smaller school, some type of rivalry, and you got talent that wanted to be recruited by that school, but they didn't, they want to show what they have. They want to show what maybe that team missed, so that may bring the best out in that team. But hopefully, for me, Morehead State's not going to be the one. All right, Ohio State taking on Marshall. 5-0 Ohio State. Marshall 4-0. All right, I like Ohio State. All right, Mata says he loves the direction this defense is going. He said they're learning fast, and he's got one of the most intelligent teams he's had in a long time. So with that being said, I don't think Marshall's really been tested yet. I'm on the first half. I grabbed it at 6.5, and I'm also going to cash on the game at 12.5. What are your thoughts on that?
Obviously Ohio State, they are a heck of a team. They've got more than enough depth, and I do know that, this is supposed to be one of the more deep Ohio State teams, so maybe in a little bit of a statement mode. Again, not one of those games that I had as a premium play on. A couple of the opinions that I trust, they didn't really throw any opinions my way. So, I would tend to lean towards that.
Okay, so you wouldn't talk me off the ledge, as Pistol Pete would say.
No, I would not. I would not do that.
Okay, viewers, that's what I got. I got 4 picks tonight. Joe Duffy has gone with 3 dogs. He's taken Butler plus 1.5, Nebraska plus 9, and the Florida Gators plus 1.5. And you can find. Hey, Joe, give a well-deserved plug for your website.
Yeah, it's been one of our best starts ever for college basketball in particular, and we'll be throughout the college basketball season. We've got systems that apply to stuff like tournaments, neutral courts, when you're playing a bunch of games in short days, and then once conference play gets underway, even better. Just visit offshoreinsiders.com. We answer every question you need.
Fantastic. Viewers, you heard it. Joe Duffy, he is the real deal, and I've worked with him long enough to know he's cashed tickets for me without even knowing it. All right, Joe, thanks so much for jumping in and taking one for the team. Look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts and shop for lines at sbrodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.